Hey everyone, today we're going to be drawing some more of your OCs. This character was submitted by Fatherless Behavior. I will read you the character description now. She is a young woman, not sure how old yet, old enough to drive but not out of college age, who is a bit hot-headed. She takes her temper out on the softball field, where she is one of the best batters in her team. She had electricity lightning powers, and the little bolts are light blue, similar to her eyes. The first drawing is much newer than the second one, but I thought I'd add both. I'll throw these drawings up on the screen now that were submitted alongside her character description. She is Fatherless Behavior's oldest OC, and her design has not changed much over the years. So if I wanted to take some creative liberties drawing her, that Fatherless Behavior does not mind, and I will definitely be taking some creative liberties here. And included was a character sheet and some of the noticeable traits about her, and so I will be including those too. I actually recorded this a long time ago, or I guess not that long ago, but a few months ago. So this drawing is a little older because I recorded it back in April, but I do still think that it came out alright. Please don't look too closely at the hand because I was also very tired making this and I did not feel like drawing hand, and so it's going to look kind of awful. And so please don't look too closely at it. I'm prouder of the face. Anyways, I really enjoyed making this illustration, but I did have to redo it because my first attempt was so horrendous. This actually ended up being kind of a challenge for me in a way because I never draw characters who play sports or do sports because I myself don't play sports. And so it's just interesting to draw characters who are kind of the complete opposite of you. So this was a fun challenge to also draw a more dynamic pose, and I wanted to draw her kind of holding up this baseball, or I guess it's a softball. I should have drawn a softball because I think they're neon yellow, but whatever, it's close enough. So I took this opportunity to draw a softball or baseball, and she's kind of holding it in between her hands, and you'll see later on that there's a bunch of electricity coming out from it to symbolize her powers. I know a lot of people like to watch speed paints because they like to see the other artists and how they do their processes, but I'm really sorry that mine is very inconsistent. Sometimes I'll do line work, and sometimes I'll do something more like this, where I just paint on top of my sketch, and honestly, it didn't work out. I actually ended up adding line art at the very end on top of it all because I really hated how it was looking. But yeah, I just liquefy it a little bit and I paint over all of the sketch, and honestly, I don't think I'll do this very often because this isn't my main way of illustrating, and especially with this kind of subject matter that I'm not super comfortable with, I definitely think that it would have looked a lot better had I done line art from the very start, since line art is something that I'm very comfortable doing. Yeah, but this time I wanted to experiment with a more painterly style, so it definitely looks different than my normal style. This illustration did not turn out how my drawings usually turn out whatsoever, so I will say that definitely it looks a little wonky, so I'm so sorry, Fatherless Behavior. It did not, nothing against you, it's just I'm not able to have a consistent art style all the time, unfortunately. And for the background, I just threw on some blobs of color and I blurred it a ton because I didn't really feel like drawing a background, but I wanted it to still feel as if this character is almost, I don't know, playing in a field or in the stands. We're nearing the end of the recording now. I'm just adding in the final details, and you can see me throw in some line art because I was not liking how it was looking. It definitely felt too undefined. It didn't feel like a full illustration. It felt like I turned the line art layer off of a finished illustration and it looked all weird and wonky, so I fixed it. But I still am not super happy with how this illustration turned out at all. I wouldn't say I hate it because hate's kind of a strong word, but I severely dislike it. So anyways, yeah, that's my finished illustration, and I hope you like it, Fatherless Behavior. So So this next drawing, instead of being directly sent to me, was actually a challenge that was listed by one of my viewers. And unfortunately, I cannot remember their channel name, and I've tried going back and looking for it, but here is a picture of the original art. And if you happen to be the original artist, or you know the original artist, please let me know so I can credit them in the description. So yeah, this was a drawing challenge that was prompted by a video that the original artist had posted, and it was kind of a draw this in your style challenge, and so I decided to take it up. It was such a fun experience, and I loved it so much because it was a art style that was pretty different from my own, and I definitely would never use these kinds of colors and like bright themes in my art. Not to say that it's bad, because I love it. I love these bright colors, and it forced me to kind of come outside of my comfort zone and use some more fun types of colors. I also tried to make kind of a more anime uwu kind of like cutie style for this, because normally my style is focuses on like ugly features, and I'm gonna say it, yes, my art style is heavily influenced by anime because that's just the kind of art that I grew up around. But also I do think that it is worth noting that I at least made an effort to make this art look very cute, because that is kind of the essence that the original art had, which was a cutie anime kind of art style. And so right now I am just inking this illustration and trying to finish it up. There's not much to talk about with this art. I could say my process, which this one actually differs a lot from the previous illustration, because in this one I actually did do some inking. This is also some older footage. This is, I think I drew this around a month ago, and I just never got around to putting it in a video until now. But yeah, you can definitely see that there's a difference between this art style and this process versus the process of the other drawing. So at first I wasn't sure whether I should just like shade the hair normally or not. So what I did to give it color was I put a bunch of different values of this like nasty mustard color, and then I put a gradient map over the whole thing of this nice, like, I think it was called Venice or something, and I just totally went all out, and I think it provided me with a pretty good base for this illustration and these colors that I'm going to put in. And while the colors aren't in the right places nor super accurate yet, I do definitely work on that later. So I hope you enjoy the speed paint, because I definitely don't have much to talk about. I'm just kind of rambling. You can listen in if you want. Do any of you listen to podcasts? I am a huge podcast fan, and I've really gotten into this one podcast that is, it's actually pretty old. It's from like 2012, 2013. Originally, it's called Welcome to Night Vale. I would say that it is pretty popular, but I've met a surprising amount of people who don't know what it is, and I recently did a poll on my community tab, and a lot of people actually didn't know what it was. So I'm curious if a lot of other people know this, or if it's just more of a thing that's kind of only known to a specific group of people. I know it is international though, so I did do good there, but it is honestly really amazing. It is it's kind of, you know, romantic but also creepy and also horror, and it's all the things that I love. I don't want to like get into it a lot because spoilers, and I'm not completely finished with the series either, but I still think that it's pretty fantastic. I am in no way affiliated with these creators, but I still think that it is an amazing podcast to listen to. I actually listen to it quite a bit when I'm just making these illustrations for a video. Anyways, so back to this illustration. I am done with all the flats and all of like the flat colors in this, and I wasn't quite sure how to go about shading this because I didn't know what level of detail to put in. I decided to just do my normal shading style, which is like a cast light. I am in love with cast lights. It's hard to refrain myself from not doing some semi-dramatic lighting on all of my illustrations. I've definitely gotten better at toning it down, but I sometimes give in. I do think that it looks really pretty though, and don't worry, the eye, I realize, is way up there, is pretty high, and so I actually go in at the very end to remedy that in something that I like to do with my art is I'll duplicate the line art layer, and then I will apply a Gaussian blur to the duplicated bit and put it underneath the original one. See, there you go, there's the liquefy, and here we are. Here's the final illustration, and to the original artist, I really hope you like it. Thank you for letting me draw your character. Alright guys, that'll do it for today, but thank you so much for watching to the very end. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much, and please consider subscribing. Thank you so much. Goodbye!